Hello, everyone. Karen with Prophecy Watchers here for an Orlando prophecy update. As you all have probably heard by now, we have a conference coming up at the end of the month, March 27th through 30th in sunny Orlando, Florida. And we are definitely looking forward to it. And we would love for you to join us. We have just a very few limited number of tickets to join in person. If not, you have the opportunity to sign up for live streaming. You can go to prophecywatchers.com, click on the live streaming banner, and you'll have access to the entire conference the whole weekend, right alongside with all of the in-person patrons. And then you'll be able to go back immediately and stream all of the messages as many times as you'd like for the next 6 months. So it is an amazing deal. To sign up, again, go to prophecywatchers.com. And with me today, I have one of the speakers at the conference, Mr. L.A. Marzulli. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Karen, great to be here. Nice to see you.
Well, I am definitely looking forward to seeing you in Orlando, and I got to look at your message titles ahead of time, and very intriguing, both of them. The second one, extra interesting, but let's start with Take Me to Your Leader, the signature event that leads to world government. What's that all about?
Well, I mean, this is conjecture, and it's based on what we see in Daniel and also the book of Revelation. Those two books, when you combine them, it sort of gives us a picture. There's got to be an event. Something's got to happen to amalgamate the nations of the world and the religions of the world. I mean, all the religions of the world are based on supernatural events that happen to the leaders. For instance, the Jews follow Moses. Well, that's a supernatural event. God gives Moses the 10 Commandments. I mean, how much more supernatural do you got to get? Christians believe in Moses, but we also believe in Jesus rising from the dead. There's the Shroud of Turin. So, which is an up-and-coming film, but I digress as usual. But the bottom line is, those supernatural events have colored the body politic. Added to that, let's say, Hinduism with the pantheon of gods, that has colored the body politic. All these supernatural events. Same with Buddhism. It has colored the body politic. With Islam, they believe in the supernatural events that happened to Muhammad. It has colored the body politic. So the Pope just a few hours ago was talking about how Ramadan links, should link to Christianity. It's like a wake-up call for Christians. I'm kind of paraphrasing here. And I just kind of went, I'm not buying that, but that's okay. So the question is, you've got all these different religions based on supernatural events that happened in some cases millennia ago. And yet they color the body politic in modernity as we are speaking. So the question is, how do you get a one world government? How do you get a one world religious system? And that is where these guys come in. This is the game changer. And the film, and I'll show it again. I've been showing it at conferences. I showed it at Prophecy Watchers, but I'll show it again. And I realized this should have been one of the rungs of disclosure in the book, but for some reason it wasn't there. So I did an update. It is now the 20th rung on the rungs of disclosure. Shameless plug, but it's number 20 now, and on the rungs. And the bottom line is, you have an event like a nuclear event going off. You have a nuclear bomb going off anywhere on the planet. That's a game changer. And what's interesting is Hello Down There, the 20th rung on the ladder of disclosure, talks about the cities of the world, mile-wide craft. Now, they don't say anything about nukes, but there's mile-wide craft over a diner in Texas, New York City, Paris, France, and Japan, some city in Japan. So what they're telling you, and you know this from film study, they don't have time to go to Budapest for a minute and 30-second commercial, or Peru. I mean, they're basically saying this is a global event. And it is. The question is, what triggers it? And in my opinion, based on decades of research, a nuclear event going off changes everything. It creates the greatest climate of fear. Now, I've touched on this before at Prophecy Watchers. It's nothing kind of new, but what I really want to zone in on and drill down into, when this happens, this is the springboard. This event creates this one world government. And then I'm going to tie it into the mark of the beast. Is the implant that we took out, are those prototypes of the mark? In my opinion, that they are. Absolutely. People, I mean, this is the thing. People go, wow, it's a government deal. And I won't mention the guy's name, but he's a well-respected author and filmmaker. And he's got a huge profile, a lot larger than mine. And he's trying to tell us that ET is good, that this phenomenon is great, that the cattle mutilations are done by the government, the abductions are done by the government. Well, I beg to differ with that. They're not. Some of them might be. And we've seen government people when people are abducted. But we took the implant out. And there was supernatural stuff that was going on in that laboratory as we were trying to, in that operating theater, as we were trying to move the implant. You know, when I started talking about this 26 years ago, literally, people were laughing at me in the body of Christ, you know. And now, you know, after my late business partner, Richard Shaw, and I extracted one on film, it's crickets. Nobody says anything because the phenomenon is real.
Yeah, well, it's because the Lord gave you that information ahead of time, and it was before everyone else had that knowledge. And so now that everything has become so normalized in our society, that UFOs exist, aliens exist, all of this stuff is now readily acceptable by anyone that you pass on the street. The Lord, for whatever reason, gave you all this insight ahead of time, and what a burden to have to carry, that you're sounding the alarm and everyone's scoffing at you, and then it is true, and then all of a sudden nobody cares anymore. But I know that he had this plan all along to give you this knowledge for a reason, and it's beautiful just to see you continuing to just lead the charge, as it were, and continue to expose this for what it is. And I wanted to retouch on, you said a nuclear event, and for those watching, I know there might be a little bit of concern there. You are talking about after the rapture, right? Kind of give us a little bit of a timeline of how you think this is going to unfold.
Well, this is conjecture, but there are three. The Lord gave me a saying for 2025, and it was nothing like revelatory, but in some ways it was. And the first one was, this is the coming great deception. That goes back to my very first book in 1999, so it's 26 years old. And it was the coming great deception. This is the coming great deception. And then later on, it was and when we started the Watchers film, now with Richard Shaw, so it's probably 10 years later, UFOs are real, burgeoning, and not going away. And then at Prophecy Watchers, I dropped a bomb on Gary Stearman, and said, when we go up, they come down. When we go up, they show up. So you put all three together, and this is what the Lord instructed me was the word for 2025. UFOs are real, burgeoning, and not going away. This is the coming great deception. However, when we go up, they come down. When we go up, they show up. I'm going to read you something. This is from a tract which we'll be giving away at the conference. We'll be giving this away at the conference. You know, one for each person. If you want to get more, we can do it, but you have to give a friendly donation. This is absolutely unbelievable. There is a potential. This is channeled information coming from an entity, supposedly from the Pleiadian star system. Nonsense. Okay? This is a fallen angel, in my opinion, or a demon. There is a difference. There is the potential for many people to leave the planet in an afternoon. The people who leave the planet during a time of Earth changes do not fit here any longer, and they are stopping the harmony of the Earth. I'm not making this up. I mean, I heard that 50 years ago when I was in the New Age. When I was in the New Age, this is what I heard. And here it is again. And they're explaining away the rapture of the church already. And you remember, not everybody goes up out of the almost 8 billion people. Sorry.
Yeah.
You know, millions will. I get that. Millions will go up. And it's not a secret rapture. You know, people will watch us ascend into the air. They'll see us go up. And I got this from a book which was published years ago. Mondo Gonzalez and Jeff Van Hatten kind of ping-ponged on that. They came to the same conclusion. When Elijah the prophet is taken up, Elisha watches him go up. When Jesus goes up and ascends, the disciples and who knows how many, scores of other people watch Jesus go up. And they're there for a while because the two angels show up. Hey, what are you guys doing? Get back to work, that type of a deal. And so, and then the two witnesses who were killed, their bodies lie on the streets of Jerusalem for 3 days, and then they're resurrected, and the whole world watches them go up. and it's not a secret rapture. What's interesting is the other side of the aisle has already explained it away. I've already explained it away. So you have a nuclear event going off anywhere on this planet. It creates the greatest climate of fear.
Yeah.
The greatest climate of fear. And that's when the Space Brothers show up. And they'll say, we created all life on this planet. We genetically manipulated early man. We started the world's civilizations. Now, at this critical juncture of human history, your Space Brothers are back. Your creators are back to usher mankind into the golden age. Now, it's one thing, to say that after the fact. It's another thing to say it a priori and to say it for years, for decades. This is the coming great deception. Yeah. This is it. And so we go up and everybody, they went into the craft because these people just aren't ready for the earth changes. Those fundamentalists, those pesky born again Christians, aren't they annoying? And I wrote about this 26 years ago, the coming great deception. And you take three of those things and you dovetail them together, cobble them together, connect them all, and it paints a picture.
Absolutely.
And I think it's sooner than later. I really do, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I want to keep asking you about this, but I know we need to get to the second message title that you're going to be speaking on, and it's Startling New Nephilim DNA Evidence. So exciting. Tell us some more.
I can't. No, I can. There's an artifact that came across my desk years ago, and a gentleman said, I have an artifact. We took it out. We didn't know any better in the 60s or whatever, decades ago, been sitting in the attic. Would you like it? Let me see a picture. So he sends me a picture. It's basically one of these guys. It's one of these guys. Very similar, only it's small. It's a child. It's probably someone 4 or 5 years old. Very much, much smaller than what we have here. Mondo took his hand, and his hand is larger than the artifact. So we are working with a world-class geneticist. And the way this whole thing came about was I was talking to this gentleman, and he was saying, well, it's a shame. Can we get more DNA samples? And we had DNA samples sent to him from one of the labs up in Canada that was holding some, and he did sequencing on those. And but he said, too bad we don't have more. I said, well, we do. And so I had Rick Woodward. I had Mondo, your Mondo, our Mondo. Mondo sent the artifact over to Rick Woodward. Rick extracted a tooth, as well as Mondo extracted a tooth before, and we sent them up to this particular individual. We have sequenced them, and the sequencing is very, very interesting. It backs up our hypothesis. But there's other information which I will not reveal to you. It'll be revealed for the first time at the Prophecy Watchers Conference.
Oh, that's so exciting.
And it is absolutely mind-boggling. It really is.
So how long have you had this skull? How long has this testing been going on?
Well, the testing has been going on for several months with a world-class geneticist, and we are really excited. And probably, well, I know this, he's going to write a peer review paper on this, which has never been done before, because it changes I will say this, it bolsters our worldview like crazy. And, I will be getting into this and talking about it. And then at the same time, we'll also be giving the results for this artifact right here.
And that is?
That's a piece of the debris from the Roswell crash site.
Oh my goodness. That is exciting.
So for those of you out there who think it's a weather balloon, maybe it's time to think again. But we'll see what the scanning electron microscope says.
Wow.
Maybe it's a beer can. I don't know, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
This stuff was buried 6 to 8 inches, and it looks identical to the other pieces that have been tested. So we're very, very excited about it.
So much testing going on. This must be such an exciting time period for you, that you finally have your hands on some things and you can actually do some testing and get in there, and you're not limited by time and other people telling you what you can and can't do. That's I cannot wait to hear more at the
It's
conference.
gonna be fun. Yeah, it'll be good.
And we are just about out of time, but in the last few minutes that we have, I'd love for you to just, you've already given us so much, but just anything that's been on your heart or anything else connected to the messages that you haven't been able to share, just tell us what you'd like to.
Well, I just think that we have reached a point where, you can't fix this anymore. 25 years ago, I would say you can fix this. We can fix this. Things can change. I'm not buying that anymore. We cannot fix what's going on. And the reason for that is the advent of AI. With AI, you don't know what's real and what's fabricated anymore. You don't know. And I'll be showing that again because all this adds up to the coming great deception. All of it pushes us into the days of Revelation. All of this, in my opinion, signals the return of the King. And I think it's close. I mean, I'm not a date setter, but maybe next Wednesday we go up. So we'll see.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for just continuing to pursue all of this information with so much discouragement, with so much controversy. I know that it is very disheartening at sometimes, but I'm so thrilled that you are continuing to do this, continuing to pursue what the Lord laid on your heart. I think He knew that you were persistent enough of a person that you were just not ever going to lay off of it. And we are now seeing all of the benefits of all of the time and dedication. And we are definitely looking forward to seeing you in Florida. I cannot wait to see the second message for sure. So, thank you so much for your time, and thank you to everyone who joined us for this update. I hope that you also enjoyed it, and we will see you here, there, or in the air. The media ministry of Prophecy Watchers exists only through the faithful prayer and financial support of friends like you.